I'm about to tell you my story of how I got involved with This Is My Brave. Last November, I was at a meeting for work, and my company is very big on patient advocacy to help understand what I do as a pharmaceutical rep from the patient's point of view so that I could do my job better. Our company brought Jennifer Marshall to speak to us at our meeting, and I've been looking for a passion project and something to become a part of that would make me feel like I had a purpose and that I was doing something and giving back. The minute Jennifer got off stage, after she told us all about This Is My Brave and her story behind it, I walked right up to her and I said, I want to do a New York City show. This was last November. From that moment on, Jennifer and I have been working together all year to do this, and tonight is that time during Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So I thank you guys all for coming out for this, for supporting it, and helping stopping the stigma. I got involved in it as a passion project because I suffer from anxiety disorder and a little bit of mild OCD, which I'll explain to you how this all came about. But before I do that, I will tell you, if I could find my little notes here somewhere. Oh, I have them, but I don't have them. So I'm going to go off the cuff, which is even more fun. Things that I learned, right? True comedian. So, things that I learned, and I'm going to take center stage for this part. Things that I learned while producing this show is there's certain words that you don't want to say when you're in a room full of people talking about curing the stigma of mental illness. For example, we were taking a group photo with Caroline at our first cast meeting. And we did a photo and we were all standing there and we're all smiling nicely, and then I shout out, let's do something crazy. Don't say crazy. Then one of the people that's in the show is cousins with a friend of mine, and I go, oh my God, isn't that nuts? Don't say nuts. And then after the first and second rehearsal, there's a lot of music that you're going to see tonight and a lot of stories. And I was like, oh my God, that song is insanely amazing. Don't say insane. Things that I've learned. But, so OCD, as you know, I was thinking about this, and it's really not a bad thing to have. If you think about it, like the way mine manifest is that my closet is color coordinated, so I could find my clothes easily. I like to clean up my dishes after I eat so there's nothing in the sink. And I like to pick up everything off the floor before I go to bed so my house is neat. How is that a disorder? I think they should call it an in order, obsessive compulsive in order. Everything of mine's in order. But this comes, as you know, most mental illness is genetic. Mine comes from my father, who was the funniest, most amazing man that I knew, but he had anxiety and mild OCD as well. And I'll give you examples. His OCD worked in the way, and his anxiety of survival. So mine now has manifested into anxiety over survival and safety. For example, when I was a little kid, we would go to Madison Square Garden, and at Madison Square Garden, we'd go see the Muppets on Ice. Does everyone remember going to see the Muppets on Ice or the Ice-capades? Right? That was fun. I didn't get to watch the show because I'd have to walk in with my mom, my brother, and my dad, and he'd say, quick kids, before the show starts, name 5 exits that are around here that aren't the one we walked in on in case there's a fire and we get trampled. Oh my God, I can never see Kermit or Miss Piggy again without thinking there's a fire going on, which is crazy. But that wasn't the worst thing that my dad did. My dad was so afraid of dying young of a heart attack because his father did, and his father's brothers, and his grandfather, so that was his fear. So what we used to do, they weren't fire drills, they were heart attack drills. Anyone do a heart attack drill ever? No, he was wondering what would happen if he's driving a car and has a heart attack. So what he would do is, when my mother wasn't in the car, it was just my brother and I, and we would be driving down major roads in New Jersey, like 280, 95, the Turnpike. Some days he would warn us and say, we're going to have a heart attack drill today. Other days, he would just slump over the wheel while he was driving. My brother and I would say, no, Dad, we don't want to do this, we don't want to do this. He'd hang there and he'd not get up. He played the part. So my job was to dive for the pedals and my brother steered the car because we were too little to reach both. I would hit the gas, my brother would tell me, gas, brake, gas, brake. We'd get to the car to the side of the road, my dad would sit up and go, great jobs, kids, we survived. Great. Well, this has definitely messed me up as an adult. At least that's what my therapist tells me is the reason. But this has definitely messed me up because I was on a date, and my date was driving, and I had a little bit of PTSD flashback, and he sneezed while he was driving. So I thought he was having a heart attack, and I dove for the pedals. He thought I was there to do something else. But he knows I'm Jewish. Speaking of Jewish, don't forget, any donations you make to This Is My Brave is tax write-off. So, before I go any further, I was going to turn this over. This is my set for tonight, and that is why I got involved, and that's what I do and what I live with, and I am so proud of you being here tonight because I didn't tell anybody about this until about a year ago. But telling it is liberating, and talking about it is liberating. And it's good. I hope if anyone in the audience is listening and you have anything that you're afraid to talk about, this show is going to change your mind. So we are ready to get started. I'm going to turn it over to, yes?
I need to say something.
Really?
Because OCD is not color coordinating thought. OCD is involuntary intrusive thought that devastates your life. My daughter here is crying. We haven't heard anything you're saying because everywhere we go, people make those ignorant comments that we did not expect to hear.
So,
You have OCD. You are suffering. It is not a joke. PTSD is not a joke. I have PTSD, and it's not funny.
So, okay, like if you can have a seat, I'd be happy to talk about that. It's not part of the show this evening, but my father died when I was 17, so I do have PTSD, and my OCD involves obsessive thoughts that never go away. So I am on medication for it. I'm not making jokes, and I'm not making fun of it. I'm not here to tell you my entire story. Mental health can be funny, and there are ways to talk about it and make it feel comfortable for everybody. I apologize. I'm very, very sorry if you were offended, and I do know it manifests in different ways, and I do know that obsessive compulsive disorder and bipolar and many other things are misused as jokes in many ways. Someone will say, it's like, oh, you were happy today, you're sad tomorrow, what are you, bipolar? I get that there's jokes about it, and I get that people think OCD is just being neat. I was just talking about the part of the manifestation that makes my life easier. So I don't mean to offend you. We are going to have a great show. You will hear the stories of everybody else on stage that will change your lives, and you will see how they've been through and what they do. This night is about hope. This is about living with mental illness, but there's hope. So I have hope for you and for your daughter that you find things that help you get through life and know that there's hope and there's a rainbow at the end of it. You can't get through the storm without getting to the rainbow. And there is a storm through the struggle. And one of my favorite quotes is, I'm thankful for my struggles because without them, I wouldn't have stumbled across my strengths. So thank you. I'm going to turn it over to our MC extraordinaire, Dennis Kenney.